Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Biggie546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so I have not gotten to make a video since the whole Andrew Thomas news. But training camp is underway. Training camp, I mean, it seems like the offseason this time kind of went really quick. It just seems like it went quicker than usual. But this year, we got some news. We have gone through a week so far at training camp. I think they started on Monday. They where everybody came in, took their physicals, worked out and all that. And then Tuesday they got on the practice field, and instantly some stuff stood out. And instantly some stuff stood out. I got this earpiece in my ear. I don't need it right now. I'm not Stephen A. Smith, but instantly things stood out. And I'm just gonna start off with just some quick pros and cons, and then just some general thoughts about this year's season. I mean, I can only say training camp. Listen, it's the first week. None of this stuff matters until we get out there on the field in week one. But what I'm seeing is Darren Waller. Darren Waller is going to be a problem. Darren Waller still has the explosiveness that he had as an Oakland Raider, that he had in his prime. Yes, he's dealt with injuries, but he still has that same explosiveness, that same short area quickness. He still is a huge receiver. I mean, he can still go up and get the ball. I have seen this guy dominate. Every rep I've seen, he wins. Every one-on-one, he's winning. Every time they double teamed him, one time he caught the ball in between two people, got hit in a non-contact practice drill, got hit, still held on to it with no pads on. Darren Waller is the truth. Now, listen, I'm not even going to mention what we're all scared of about this guy, but he's out there every week. He's going to be a problem because no one can get a hold of this guy. No one can cover him. No one can stay with Darren Waller. And as I said months ago, Darren Waller is our number one receiver. He's our number one wide receiver. He doesn't play wide receiver per se, but he's going to be targeted a bunch, and he's going to be a problem. Like Travis Kelce's an issue, Darren Waller is almost the player that Travis Kelce is. And that is ridiculous. So hopefully we get to see more and more of him as the actual season starts, and he's going to continue to dominate when regular season stuff starts. But I am not worried about how good Darren Waller is going to be at all. And it seems like Daniel Jones is actually throwing this guy. I mean, he's forcing him the ball, which not like a bad way of forcing him, but he's always open and he's not afraid to continue to throw it to him as he's open. So that's something I've seen. He's been throwing it up to him, giving him chances to go up and get the ball in traffic. So Daniel Jones has never had a receiver that he just felt that comfortable with, that he's just going to throw it up on a consistent basis or throw it into traffic on a consistent basis for him to come down with the ball, besides Sterling Shepard. But he was never throwing those high, you're not throwing high points, high balls to Sterling Shepard. It's just not his game. But moving on, just the overall receiving core. Paris Campbell, new player here, new receiver here, and he's versatile. They've lined him up in the backfield. They've lined him up in the slot. They lined him up outside, and he has been making people miss too. He's been routing people up. He ran a 4.31 at the combine. Really fast player in the short area and long speed. I mean, we brought a lot of speed to this team with Darren Waller and Paris Campbell and Jalen Hyatt. So this guy, Paris Campbell, looks really good. Really, really good starting off in training camp. Again, I haven't really seen anybody really lock him down in the clips that I've seen. I just haven't seen it yet. So Paris Campbell, I think, is going to be a great addition to our offense. I think Paris Campbell is pretty much going to be used like how we use Kadarius Toney. I don't think he's anywhere near as elusive as Kadarius Toney is, because Kadarius Toney is a generational kind of guy, the way he can make people miss. But he can be used in that role. Again, he's going to be lined up in the slot. He's going to be lined up as a running back. He's going to be able to kind of do whatever he wants out there. And nice pickup, perfect fit for the offense. Same thing. We got a lot of new players out there. Hyatt made a play today, a deep ball down the right sideline, down the left sideline. Tyrod Taylor threw him. He kind of outran the defense as I expected. He's hit 24 miles per hour on his GPS, multiple times this camp. 24 miles per hour is blazing fast. It's ridiculously fast. I mean, Daniel Jones hit what, like 21 point something, and that was the fastest for a ball carrier the entire year. So, or maybe for a quarterback, but usually the fastest ball carrier is about 22 miles an hour. And you see Jalen Hyatt running 24 miles per hour. So that is something else right there. The rest of this core, you got Shep coming back. He's off of the PUP list. He was out there routing people up today. You got a bunch of guys who are just big time players. All of these guys are explosive. All these guys can get open one-on-one. And this is something that we just have not had. This is something where Darius Slayton can be your fifth receiver. And I really see these guys all rotating in and out around each other, because another guy who's not a receiver, but also is looking really good, is Daniel Bellinger. He's out there running routes kind of similar to the routes that Darren Waller's running, and he's getting open. So I really think that those two are some of our best pass catchers out there. And I think there's going to be a ton of times where they're both on the field at the same time. And I think those wide receivers is going to be mostly 2 or 3 wide receivers out there. And I think they're just going to rotate them in and out in all different positions of the field. I don't think we really need a superstar wide receiver on the outside if we've got Darren Waller, Bellinger, and, Saquon in the backfield and DJ with the threat to run. I think this is a really good recipe for success offensively. Moving on, Daniel Jones in general, he looks sharp. Everything I've seen, he looks a lot more confident in his decisions. He's picking up where he left off after that. I think it was that Commanders game where everything kind of just clicked for him, and then he really put it together against the Colts, where he had pretty much a flawless game. And then going into that playoff game against the Vikings, another great game for Daniel Jones. So I think he is picking up where he left off. I think this is going to be a career year for him. He's going to have that efficiency of last year, but I think he's going to make a lot more explosive plays. Maybe he has more than 6 interceptions this year, but I know he'll probably have more than the 15 touchdowns that he threw this year. He is, dotting people up. He's able to kind of move a lot more. You see him training every offseason to throw on the run, to move off schedule, and he's gotten a lot better at it. So I think we're going to see a lot of huge plays from Daniel Jones this year. I'm expecting a career year. I don't know if that looks like 30 touchdowns. I don't know if it looks like 25 touchdowns, but I know it's going to be more than 15. And of course, you still have that ability for him to take off and run with the ball. So Daniel Jones, as expected, is looking a lot more comfortable in this offense. A surprise, Trey Hawkins. I think we took this guy in the 6th round out of ODU, out of Old Dominion, out of Virginia. And Trey Hawkins is looking good. Trey Hawkins has been lining up against all these receivers. He hasn't played much first team, if any, but in his individual and his second team drills, he is all draped all over these wide receivers, not committing penalties. He's just there. He's just there. He's not giving them any room to breathe. I'm not sure if he's gotten any interceptions or anything, but he is not giving anything up. So it's looking really good for Trey Hawkins. He is, you got to think that the cornerback spot is open. You got a lot of players who you think can be good players, but you're not 100% sure about. Like the guy we brought over from the Lions, Amani Oruwadiye. You got him, and sometimes he plays like a really, really good cornerback. Sometimes he doesn't look that good. So he's out there. He could be your veteran starter. Deonte Banks, who I'll get to soon, he's not starting off the best. And I'm not saying that Deonte Banks is going to lose his starting spot. He hasn't earned it yet. But I'm not saying who's going to start across from Adoree, but I am saying that it's an open competition, and it looks like Trey Hawkins is fighting to try to get some playing time this year. Same thing with Cordell Flott. He's looked good at times, but he said he struggled today. Moving on to JMS, John Michael Schmitz. He started off pretty much this entire week playing left guard, and I was kind of like, I want him taking as much snaps at center, snapping the ball to Daniel Jones as many times as humanly possible going into that season. I want that connection perfect going into the season. And he started at left guard all week this week, but today he finally played center, and you had Bredesen at right guard. So Bredesen kind of in that competition with Glowinski to take over that right guard spot. We'll see how that goes. But loving to see JMS at center finally. I mean, I'm really happy that that's finally happened. Now moving on to the couple of things that are, you can say, are cons. Deonte Banks, as I said, has been struggling. He's been caught out of position. He's missed a couple of jams. He just had a couple of bad plays where he just looks like he's struggling. I'm not thinking too much of it. He's got all the tools. He's got the coaching. He's got the mentorship out of Dory Jackson and those guys. So I'm assuming that Deonte Banks will get better, but I'm not surprised. We got some good receivers here this year. Not elite guys, but good veteran wide receivers here this year. And I mean, they get paid for a reason. They're vets in this league for a reason, and they've been making him miss. And he's also been playing against a lot more first-team guys than Trey Hawkins has been. So Deonte Banks has been struggling, and some people are trying to say, this is going to be his whole rookie year. But let's give him some time. Let's let him settle in. Let's let him get into some games in the preseason, and we'll make our decision once the actual season starts, and we'll see how that goes. But Deonte Banks has been struggling. It just is what it is. Like I said, it's just some technique stuff, some timing issues with his jam, just the kind of a lot of stuff like that. And then lastly, I mean, nothing here surprises me. Darnay Holmes looks like Darnay Holmes. He's bad. He's not a good slot corner. He's not a good outside corner. He's just not a starting corner in this league. I think Darnay Holmes' strengths are coming up in tackling. I think he really will be, and I'm not trying to make fun of the guy at all. I think he really will make a great gunner for us. I think he'd also make a great, kind of sub safety where he can just kind of read and react, because he's not really prepared to go out there and play man coverage on a down and down basis, especially in the slot. He is getting juked out of his shoes every other route. It does not look good. So I'm hoping that this is finally the year where we can get an upgrade at the slot corner position, whether that's Cordell Flott. I don't know what's going on with Aaron Robinson. I haven't heard anything about him. But whether that's one of these guys, hopefully we can get an upgrade in the slot, because Darnay Holmes, as we've seen, is a penalty machine in that slot cornerback spot. He cannot play man coverage at all. To wrap this up, I mean, week 1 of training camp in the books. I'm probably going to be making some more frequent videos about this stuff as we go on to this next week. But week 1 is in the books. Or I guess maybe technically you can call this week 2 because today's Sunday. But the bulk of week 1 is in the books. And preseason game, the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, is going to be this Thursday. Not a Giants game, but the following Friday is going to be our first preseason game. I do not remember how Dable did it last year, but we'll see who goes out there. I doubt starters will play the first game. I think they ended up playing the second game. But we are going to see probably some rookies out there who may be starters. I know they're going to throw Deonte Banks out there. I know JMS is probably going to get a couple snaps. Hyatt should get, a good bulk of snaps. But that's in 2 weeks from now. About 2 weeks from now. But overall, good week of camp. It makes me feel really good about what the Giants are doing. I'm especially excited about Darren Waller. And it can only get better from here. Year 2 in the offense, year 2 with this head coach. I think the Giants are in position to have a really, really great season. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.